Apitam yena bhutale swayam rupa kadamayam dadati swapadantikam katachana smrite yasmin duskaram sukaram bhavek vismite viparitam shat Shri Chaitanya namamitam. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 10, Deliverance of the Yamal Arjuna trees. And we are beginning with, right here. '23, yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Srimad Bhagavatam 10:10-23. Shri Shuka Vacha Evam Upasa Devarshir Gato Narayana Shamam Nala Kuvara Manigriva Asator Yamalarjuna. Shukadev Goswami continued, having thus spoken, the great saint Devarshi Narada returned to his ashram known as Narayana Ashram, and Nalukuvara and Manigriva became twin Arjuna trees. Arjuna trees are still found in many forests, is the purport, and their skin is used by cardiologists to prepare medicine for heart trouble. This means that even though they are trees, they are disturbed when skinned for medical science. So we're reading a few verses. Welcome, Garuda Dwaja. Haribo. Yeah, in Govardhan, you have there's Arjuna trees. I think it's the Arjuna trees that are there that represent, there's like 5 Arjuna trees that represent the 5 Pandavas. Next verse. Rishir Bhagavata Mukasya Satyam Kartum Bacho Harihi Jagama Shanakashtatra Yatrastram Yamalarjuna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, to fulfill the truthfulness of the words of the greatest devotee, Narada slowly went to that spot where the twin Arjuna trees were standing. Who can think of a similar circumstance where the Lord fulfilled the truthful words of his devotee? Calling on you guys.
I'm reminded of the Nrsinga pastime when Prahlad Maharaj says, is God in the pillar? Yes, he is in the pillar. And then Nrsinga jumps out.
Nice. So the Lord is, the devotees of the Lord are always speaking truth. Even the Devas, they're Kama Mishra Bhaktas. They're mixed with desire. But the quality of the Devas is that they do not speak falsehoods. And therefore, if they say something is going to happen, then it happens. The Lord makes their words truth. If you always speak the truth, I believe it was in this little book called Srila Prabhupada Nectar, that if you can speak the truth for 10 years, no lies, for 10 years straight, then your words will become true. They'll carry the weight of reality with them. They'll become true. So Prahlad Maharaj says, yes, he's in the pillar. And the Lord's like, okay, yeah. Actually, when Prahlad he said, is he in this pillar? Prahlad saw him in the pillar. He really did. He said, yeah, he's right there. Okay, next verse. Devarshi me priyatamo yadimo dhanant atmajo tatha sajjayishyami yadgitham tan mahatmana. Although these two men are the sons of the very rich Kuvera, and I have nothing to do with them, Devarshi Narada is my very dear and affectionate devotee. And therefore, because he wanted me to come face to face with them, I must do so for their deliverance. Purport. Like Nalakuvara and Manigriva and Nalakuvara and Manigriva actually had nothing to do with devotional service or seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. For this is not an ordinary opportunity. It is not that because one is very rich or learned or was born in an aristocratic family, one will be able to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. This is impossible. But in this case, because Narada Muni desired that Nalakuvara and Manigriva see Vasudeva face to face, the Supreme Personality of Godhead wanted to fulfill the words of his very dear devotee, Narada Muni. If one seeks the favor of the devotee instead of directly asking favors from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is very easily successful. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has therefore recommended Vaishnava Thakur Tomar Kukura Bhuliya Janaha More Krishna Se Tomar Krishna Dite Para. One should desire to become like a kukur, a dog, in strictly following a devotee. Okay. If we were trying to be the kukur, the dog, what's the dog collar?
Tulsi beads.
Yes. Srila Prabhupada said this is like our dog collar. Very, very important as aspiring devotees, aspiring Vaishnavas, to take shelter of not just Narada, but the great devotee Tulsi, and always wear Tulsi. It means I'm taken. I've Sanat. I have a master. I have a Lord. I have a protector. As Srila Prabhupada was walking the beach in Bombay, in Juhu, and he compared this. There was a wealthy man walking with his nice, beautiful, well taken care of dog, and he was comparing this to the other street dogs. You see, this dog is Sanat. Sanat. Nat means, what does that word mean? What does Nat mean? Lord. So Sa means with, together with the Lord. And Anat means without, no Lord. So the dog that has no protector, he is, he's got fleas. He might have some sores. He doesn't have anyone to look after him. For example, I was in Mayapur, and there was this little puppy. He was cute, and he had like scabs all over his body. But he was a little puppy, and we used to call him Scabby. And he was living near the Gosha. And so one day we heard like the dog kind of whimpering and crying. And we look out the window, and there's this one of the workers is chasing after him. And the dog's like crying, and the worker's running after him. Like, what is he doing to this dog? I think he has a stick, and he has maybe a basket. And so we find out, okay, what's he up to? Because the dog, it just seems like he's harassing the little dog, and it was just like unclear what's going on here. So we asked him, what is he doing? He said, well, Bhakti Marg Swami asked us if we can give this dog some medicine. So the worker was trying to catch the dog, catch the little puppy, little Scabby. I still got a picture of him. Scabby. So he kind of had a lord, a little protector. But if he was in the house of some wealthy man, he would just be living the American dog life versus the street dog life of India. Very different life. So Anat and Salat. So we want to become like that dog. So this is our doggy collar. And like we're taken. It's just like the wedding ring is showing, oh, I have somebody. So this is like we're showing, I have somebody. I'm taking shelter of the great devotee, Tulsi Maharani, where it says the Yamadutas will not look at anybody that are wearing the Tulsi beads. Now, sometimes if you go on the internet and you ask some questions, who can wear Tulsi beads? Oh, I'm drinking coffee. Can I wear Tulsi beads? Oh, I'm eating eggs. Can I wear Tulsi beads? I'm not chanting any japa. Can I wear Tulsi beads? And some people say, no, you cannot wear Tulsi beads. But according to our acharyas, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, anyone can take shelter of Srimati Tulsi Devi. Anyone can wear those Tulsi beads. The arguments that such and such people who are not following these various principles do not have any evidence. So if you look further, you'll find, everybody can wear these Tulsi beads. So if you're aspiring to become a servant of the servant of a servant of Krishna, you should definitely wear these Tulsi beads. Need that mercy. Okay, finishing the purport. One should desire to become like a dog in strictly following a devotee. Krishna is in the hand of a devotee, a durlabam atma bhakto. That's what verse is that? That's at Brahma Samhita. That's who knows which verse is that? Adurlabam atma bhakto. Is it Chintam? No, it's a Chintamani.
Advaita Achyutamananta.
Advaita. Oh, okay. Advaitam Achyutamanadam Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha. Vedeshtu Sar. No. I'm jumping into a different verse. Atma Bhakta. By all the Vedas, I'm okay, but I'm basically durlabam. Durlabam means to what? Obtain. And dur means difficult. Not difficult to obtain by whom? Atma Bhakta, my devotee. Thus, without the favor of a devotee, one cannot directly approach Krishna or to speak of engaging in his service. Narottam Das Thakur sings, Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nishtar Payecha Keva. Unless one becomes a servant of a pure devotee, one cannot be delivered from the material condition of life. In our Gaudiya Vaishnava society, following the footsteps of Rupa Goswami, our first business is to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. Ado Guru Ashraya. First business, take shelter. And so this is part of our taking shelter right now. We're hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. through the lips of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So that is also one of the first steps of understanding and taking shelter. So in Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says in chapter 7, he talks about 4 types of people who begin to take shelter. There's Chaturveda Bhajante Mam Janasukritino Arjuna Arte Jigyasu Artarti Yanichabhar Shiva. He says there's the distressed, seeker of wealth, the inquisitive, and the Jnani, the one who is seeking absolute itself. Does anybody know the different examples of in the Bhagavatam? Who are the representatives of those different categories? This is described in Nectar Devotion. Nectar Devotion trivia for you. Who are those? Who are the 4 examples? Who is approaching Krishna in distress? Who is the example?
Gajendra was distressed. Dhruva was seeking wealth. I don't remember.
Okay, so Gajendra distress, Dhruva seeking wealth. Then you have the sages of Naimisharanya, and we're in the category of the curious. And then you have the 4 Kumaras, who are in the category of the Jnanis. And this is also related to the 4 social orders. The Shudra is someone who is lamenting. They're in distress. Shut means to just be in distress. So you approach out of distress. The Vaishya, what is the Vaishya looking for? Is looking for that money. So he's seeking wealth. He approached the Lord seeking wealth. The Kshatriya, he is the one wanting to figure out how to control. So he's seeking, how is this world controlled? And the Brahmana, he is seeking Brahman. So he is the Jnani. He is seeking the absolute. So Krishna describes these 4. And he says, Udara Sarvevite, they are all very dear to me. But the Jnani, the one who is with devotion seeking me, I consider him like my very self. Now the Acharyas, he says that Krishna says, I consider this person like my very self. But the Prema Bhakta, the one that is completely approaching the Lord with pure love and devotion, Krishna says, I consider that person even greater than myself. This is the overly affectionate heart of the Lord. He is considering the great devotee even greater than himself. Like in the example of Sudama Brahmana. Sudama Brahmana came to see the Lord. He didn't have anything, so he went to the neighbor's house and he begged for a little bit of chipped rice. He was too embarrassed to bring it, just like if you were to go to some very wealthy person's house and you had some French fries from some one of those fast food joints, some old French fries that you had sitting in your car. You might not be very inspired to give it to that person. It's considered very low class, not very high class food. You're visiting somebody who's got a nice brownstone in the near Central Park. Those French fries might not be a nice gift. So he brought it just for the sake of making sure he can bring something, but he was too embarrassed. And Krishna was seeing that the great devotion that Sudama Brahmana had in collecting that offering, was so eager to taste it that he immediately grabbed the little satchel that he had and he took one bite and he was, oh my God, in ecstasy. And he took another bite and he was in total ecstasy. Actually, the queen stopped him from his third bite. Now, in the pastime, you find that Krishna never quelled the anxiety that Sudama Brahmana had. He never told him that actually, hey, don't worry. When you go home, there's going to be a new palace. Actually, even your bodies are going to transform with great opulence and wealth and beauty. And why didn't he tell them? Why didn't he tell Sudama Brahmana that his financial issues were solved? Anybody know? So Krishna felt that he was not adequately reciprocating with Sudama. Sudama gave more than he had. Sudama took he approached the neighbors and asked, because he had nothing. And so he asked the neighbors for this like chipped rice, and he brought it to Krishna. So Krishna says, I should equally, at least at the very minimum, I should reciprocate with Sudama by giving more than I have. But how is that possible? I can only give him the unparalleled opulences of Lord Indra and Lord Brahma. I cannot give him more than I have. And so Napariyaham, like this, so as he says to the gopis, I cannot repay my debt to them. So when the devotee has this merciful attitude towards others, and that's how we gain Krishna's mercy, because he has this very lovingly reciprocation with the devotees. He feels you give something very small, a small loving endeavor, and Krishna takes it as a massive thing. It takes you do a little loving endeavor, and it's like he puts a magnifying glass and he says, look how great my Vaishnava is. And he takes it as such a massive thing. Even to the point where he says in Bhagavad Gita, Apichetsu doracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadur eva samantavya samyak vyavisito hisaha. That even if my devotee performs the most abominable activity, O Arjuna, sadhu eva, you must consider him sadhu. Now this is the devotee who has some lamentation for his behavior. Someone who is saying, oh Lord, I feel so bad for giving bad name to the Vaishnavas. But due to my sinful desires from previous life, I have not been able to give up this habit, but I will never give up your service. So such a person is considered to be a sadhu, because Shipram Bhavatmi, Krishna follows that verse, Shipram Bhavatmi, Shipram, very quickly, Bhavatmi, Dharmatma, very quickly, he will become a Dharmatma, a righteous person. That is like if a person is, like in India, you'll see outside, everyone it's all you need is a little piece of cloth, and you can take a bucket shower outside. All you need is a gamsha. Actually, long ago, about 10 years ago, I saw on a website, there was a store in New York City, and it had gamshas for sale. It was for $269. It said, Kari Gingham Stole. And it was like, those $1 gamshas that you get off the street, that they're, trying to convince you to buy it for $1. And you're like, nah, I don't want it. It's 60 cents. And these guys were selling it for $296 or $269 on this one shop, Kari Gingham Stole. So all you need is a little gamsha, and you can take a nice bath right in the street. So say you have some very paka, very nice brahmana, very seemingly clean. And then you have a construction worker working in the mud, but he is bathing himself. At least physically, we know that he is potentially more clean than that Brahmana, because he's actually engaged in the cleansing process. So the devotional devotee is considered pure because of his pure potentiality. As Srila Prabhupada has used the word pure devotee in different ways. Sometimes he uses the word pure devotee as someone who is completely purified. Sometimes he uses the term pure devotee as someone who practiced the path of devotion, not mixed with karma and jnana, that they're simply trying to engage in loving devotional service, whether they themselves are pure or not. So that because of that potentiality, they're considered pure. It just takes a little bit of time. You leave a mango on the tree at the beginning, hard and sour. Devotee can be in the beginning, hard and sour, but let it ripen, becomes soft and sweet. So, how about there's a book called Sri Damodar Janani. I will share in the chat. Maybe it will be shared in the video. Let's see if it comes up. Let me try. I worked a few years ago. I did a little Kartik vow, and I recorded an audiobook of Shivaram Swami's book, The Damodar Pastime, Sri Damodar Janani, which is some 480 pages. If you look in my Krishna book, The Damodar Pastime, is a few pages. This is a whole book. It's like the Damodar Pastime on devotional steroids. It's a great book. And so I recorded an audio book of it. And came out pretty good. And so one Kartik year, I did the recording every day. It was like 30 chapters, so 30 days. And then the next year, I did the audio editing. And so I just shared the link. It's on SoundCloud. There are two versions. There's one that has all the preface and all that stuff, but it can be confusing as an audiobook because there's a lot of technical stuff. But if there's the one called Chapters Only, you can just hear the stories. So we'll just read just a little bit. While continuing to eye the two Arjuna trees swaying in the wind, Krishna hatched a plan by which to further expand his pastimes and please his devotees. By tying me up with her love, Mother has put me in her debt. I must repay her. Perhaps liberating those two trees will be a start. In this way, Krishna revealed a further truth about himself. While he is bound by love of his devotees, he continues to give liberation to others. Krishna is the exclusive son of Mother Yashoda, and for her, he is a naughty little boy. As far as others are concerned, he is the supreme Lord, possessing of unlimited power and might. Now, while acting as Damodara, Krishna was invoking his godly powers to liberate the demigods trapped in the Arjuna trees. These demigods were formerly the twin sons of the treasurer of the heavens, Kubera. Their names were Nalakuvara and Manigriva. Now embodies it as Arjuna trees. They had become purified by many years of suffering, but more so by contacting the earth of Gokul and the people of Vraja. And when, from their vantage point, they saw Krishna crawling in the courtyard, their desire for pure devotion arose. Krishna remembered these demigods' past lives, the events that led to their meeting Narada, and the curse that brought them to Vraja as trees. In appearance, he looked like one of his boyfriends, But as the all-cognizant Lord, he recalled every detail of Nalakuvara and Manigriva's history. The sons of Kuvera, these young men, naturally lived a carefree life of opulence and sense enjoyment. Unlike their father, who dutifully managed the wealth of both the demigods and men, Nalakuvara and Manigriva squandered their time, loitering in the Chaitrarata garden. Intoxicated, they plundered the wealth of that garden, whose trees sprouted jewel leaves and bore beautiful maidens as their fruit. Decorating themselves with the jewels and enjoying these young girls, Nalakuvara and Manigriva spent their time in a drunken stupor, with not a single care for others. When Kuvera once performed austerities to please Lord Shiva, he and his family were rewarded with the status of demigod. Unfortunately, the accompanying prestige not only increased his son's opulence, but also their arrogance. That's usually an easy way to see where are we situated. You know, if you give someone who is not of a high-class nature tons of money, they'll become quite degraded. You know, all these lottery winners, you know, becoming bankrupt very quickly. By Varuni drink and by false prestige. They became intoxicated by those two things. They thought, we are the sons of King Kuvera and the favorites of Lord Shiva. Who dares oppose us? In this way, Manigriva and Nalakuvara exhibited the disposition of demigod worshippers who were bewildered by the trappings of their worship. Moreover, the brothers subsequently neglected all proper conduct, what to speak of service to the Supreme Lord. Having gained access to Lord Shiva's Mount Kailash, the twins, who were always eager to enhance sense pleasure, sought out the celestial gardens decorating the banks of the Mandakini Ganges. Now privileged demigods, they abandoned their previous girlfriends and sought out more attractive apsaras of heaven, with whom they wandered through the flower gardens in an intoxicated state. Sometimes they drank a liquor made from Varuna's abode, and sometimes a beverage from churning of the milk ocean. Whatever they consumed, the resultant conduct was always self-indulgent narcissism. Okay, so we'll stop here. This is our, we're at our sharing point, 750, where we can see if you can share some comments, questions, reflections.
Thank you, Nityananda Chandra Prabhu. Beautiful class. We're impressed by your vow. Very nice contribution. And we'll check it out. Okay, temple room. Yeah, you're supposed to go first. Temple room. Reflections, questions. We have a new feature where if there's no questions from audience, then the speaker will quiz the audience. We'll ask questions. It's a new feature. Okay, we have a hand.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. There's two categories. You know, sometimes you watch a movie and you identify with the hero. You've seen that? You're watching a film or you hear a story and you identify with the good guy or the bad guy. In this pastime, sometimes I think how we're called to act in the way that Narada Muni was called. You know, we go out and we distribute books and we collect donations and we approach people in their revelry. So we're on that side of the fence, you know. And then sometimes I think of how Prabhupada came to us and we were the indulgent, frivolous, degraded people that he called out to another life. It's kind of interesting to see both sides of the different kinds of way that we could identify with characters in the story. Who do you identify with? You're more like Narada Muni, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, who? I wasn't know if you're asking Ananda Murari.
I'm asking you.
Oh, just yeah, ordinary rascal.
See if anybody else has something to say.
I got a little Krishna book trivia. So after
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, so Krishna book trivia. After Krishna was tied up, what was his next thought? He was tied up. He was looking at the trees. It says that Krishna was thinking, what other mischief can I do? Nice. Some more.
But, when Krishna saw these trees, did he know that there were two souls trapped in those bodies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend looking at the book. It's really wonderful. It's a wonderful read.
Yeah, we'll check it out, Prabhu. Thank you. And who's the devotee next to you?
Oh, this is Garuda Dwaja visiting from Dallas.
Hare Krishna.
For 1 week. Yeah.
Thank you for joining the class. Does Guru Dwaja?
Garuda
Dwaja, do you have questions or reflections that you'd like to share with us?
Said not at the moment.
Not at the moment. Okay. We're comfortable with that. No problem. Okay.
Okay, so we have 6 more minutes. Should I continue reading? Unless we have.
Should we consider every tree like that? I mean, it wasn't just those two characters that took birth as trees. As devotees, we can actually look at every single tree. It's kind of interesting when you get on your Sankirtan vision of approaching every single person. That's what book distribution is like. No discrimination. Every single one has the potential and has the need and is an opportunity for us to show them Krishna's love. Every tree, every living entity. I'll let you go. You should read. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. The first opportunity I had for devotional service was I had my 13-year-old friend of mine when I was 14. She said she had a nice painting of Srila Prabhupada. Not this painting. This is a painting my friend made of Srila Prabhupada, airbrush. So she had this nice painting of Srila Prabhupada, and she would make a large garland for it every day from those Hawaiian flowers, the ones that you see, people get in the airport. She would make. Actually, she became an expert at making very like the garlands you read in Krishna book, the like Vaijayanti garlands of forest flowers of Lord Chaitanya. He says a Galadesha Vanamala. Like she makes these amazing garlands now. She even does it professionally. So she said, if you take a flower from this tree and make a garland and offer it to Krishna or his devotee, then the soul in the tree gets benefit. And this was like day 1 or 2 of hearing about Krishna consciousness. And I was like, wow, this is really far out. This is amazing. The soul in the tree. Whoa. First, I learned to be a vegetarian, the souls in all creatures, but soul in the tree. Okay, so we'll continue reading. On one occasion, Manigriva and Nalakuvar were enjoying with their Apsara admirers with the lotus-crowded waters of the Ganges. The lotuses were of every color and description, and their aroma attracted swarms of birds and bees, who combined songs mixed with the laughter and merriment of the twins and their women. Due to arrogance, The demigods had abused the privilege granted to them by Lord Shiva and committed the offense of using a sacred place for sense gratification. Being in an intoxicated state, bathing naked, and indulging in sex are all offenses to Ganga Devi. And as drunks often do, the two men sang songs of pleasure and goaded their consorts to do the same. Thus, the usually sacred atmosphere of Mount Kailash was spoiled by the ribald sounds and licentious acts. Krishna thought, generally, people go to the Ganges to be purified of the effects of sinful life. But these two foolish men were sinning in the divine waters of the Ganges. Thus, the purification they derived from such bathing was minimal and incidental. There being no way for their deliverance, all-knowing Narada Muni, who always desired the ultimate welfare of all living beings, decided to go there. Narada thought, since even pious acts like bathing in the Ganges will not purify these souls, let me give them the irrepressible seed of devotional service. Without notice, Narada suddenly appeared where the Devas were reveling. Although he was effulgent as a second sun, in their drunken stupor, Nalakubara and Manigriva did not notice him. Narada was dressed in deerskin, and the radiance of his fair complexion was surpassed only by his golden matted locks. Golden dreadlocks. He rested his veena on his shoulder, and although walking, his feet never touched the ground. Famous as the foremost devotee and the greatest scholar of devotion, Narada was also well versed in other branches of the Vedas as well as their practical application. He was the professor of the Puranas, history, logic, and morality. In short, he possessed full knowledge of the truths of creation and that which extended eternally beyond it. He was eloquent, resolute, intelligent, and blessed with a powerful memory. And while he was always absorbed in singing the glories of the Lord, he also had an interest in military science. Thus, in addition to being learned in every branch of devotional music, Narada was well versed in the six science of treaty, war, military campaigns, restraining the enemy, and strategies for ambush and retreat. But this time, Narada Muni was not thinking of martial arts. He was absorbed in thoughts of Krishna's childhood pastimes. Overcome with ecstasy, he was singing songs in praise of the compassion that Krishna shows even to demons who attempt to harm him. And the ecstasy that Narada felt so submerged in Krishna's compassion that tears of joy flowed down his cheeks as he sang.
Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, there's a question in the chat from Rich.
Oh, yes.
You want to read it? You want me to read it? I'll read it.
Yes,
okay, yes. Purport text 25. Without the favor of a devotee, one cannot directly approach Krishna. Question from Rich. For those in the human form, are fellow humans the only devotees we may approach? Or may we approach Krishna via trees, tulsi, and other aspects of nature? Thinking here of the 24 gurus of Dattatreya. Here's the question. Should we only approach humans, or can we approach trees?
I'm sure you can. Yeah, there are definitely pastimes in the Padma Purana and other Puranas where people get mercy of Tulsi Maharani. No? But if you get the mercy of Tulsi Maharani and you learn about devotional service, then you learn Guru Padashraya. Then you take shelter of someone who can instruct you. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was speaking with a professor, and he was encouraging him to read the books of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This professor was a British professor who he understands Sanskrit fluently, and he said he had a very hard time understanding Jiva Goswami's works because they were so advanced. And he said, you need to not only, the books of Bhakti Thakur will help you, but you have to understand it with the direct instruction of a personality who can help you, living personality. I can find the words. Basically, this exchange refuted the idea that one can simply associate with books alone. The professor said, yeah, just understanding the books alone, one will not understand deeply. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, no, he may have completely the opposite understanding. One has to understand with a living personality who is there, who can clarify any type of misconception, who can clarify misunderstandings, who can give those strong instructions. Just like if you were a doctor, still you see other doctors.
Is that okay, Rich Peak? Was that satisfying? Yeah. Nice.
Yes.
Dr. Yuga, U.S. Navy.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for offering your time and energy to provide this class. That was a wonderful question by Rich, by the way. I just wanted to say that. I thought, like, oh yeah, that's a good question. Where can we obtain devotional service from? And then I really like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's comment that not only can you not understand deeply, but you can actually understand the opposite if you don't have that proper guidance. I thought that was powerful. But then back to our pastime as well. These devas are in Kailash and they're all intoxicated and they're sporting with young women and just all kinds of degraded activities. And something I thought of, Prabhupada will mention it sometimes in his purports, that when it's not enough to go to the Dham, to go to a sacred space, but you also have to create an internal sacred space. You have to come in with the right attitude. So sometimes he'll criticize that people will go to Vrindavan or go to the Ganges or to the Yamuna and what have you, but they'll bring all of their degraded mentality with them. And they'll just do the same thing they did in the outside, drinking or meat eating or sexual activities or what have you. And they'll just bring that mentality into Vrindavan or Ganges. And then because that mentality is there, they're externally in the Dham. But Prabhupada, I think there's one purport where he says that these men in Vrindavan are no better than the monkeys of Vrindavan. So, and this kind of goes back to your point that how do you test a person's purity? You give them opulence and see what they do with it. So, right, in that same way, of course, we try and develop external circumstances that help us in whatever our goals are and whatever we need for our development. But at the same time, it's that internal transformation that's most important. Because otherwise, I mean, you'd see these devas, they're on Mount Kailash. I mean, it's such a sacred place. You know, they should be getting purified. If they're not, it means, oh man, there's a lot of work to be done there in the heart. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Fine.
Okay. Yeah, Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, are you ready for Krishna to test you with opulence? Will you handle the test?
Are you ready, Ananda Bihari?
I can't wait until Krishna starts testing me.
Yeah, he's testing you already, boy.
Joking. Yeah, Bhima Prabhu, would you like to contribute to class? Would you like to say something?
Well, I'll let, if you can see, I'll let a picture be 1,000 words. I'm overlooking 1,000,000 trees. And here, and each one a soul in themselves. And I one amongst them. And here's my rock at the top of the small mountain that I go to every day to listen to this class. And by listening to this class, this wonderful class, this rock has now been made sacred. And these trees are now all my friends in this. So thank you very much, Prabhu. Wonderful. I am just totally amazed at this next generation of devotees. I'm really inspired by you all, and I can't wait to take birth again in a devotee family, even as a dog. See, here's my dog right here. This is Rama. There he is. He's happy. See, he's listening to the class. So Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Nice. Thank you very much. Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, beautiful class, interactive, lively, shastric, Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you everyone for participating in this class. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Approach trees, butterflies, bona fide gurus for Krishna. There's no boundaries. Krishna will talk to us through any medium that we can relate to. Right, Nityananda Chandra? Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, great. Thank you. Hare Krishna.